the highly pathogenic avian influenza outbreak of 2022 to 2023 devastated birds nationally and in Ohio. We're going to talk about how you can keep your backyard flock safe on Extension Today.
Extension Today is sponsored by the Ohio State University College of Food, Agricultural, and Environmental Sciences.
The first avian influenza outbreak that occurred in 2014 to 2015 devastated birds in Ohio. Over 50 million birds perished from the outbreak. In 2022, the first outbreak that occurred in Ohio happened right here in Franklin County. If an outbreak happens too close to fair time, that means those 4-H'ers are not able to take their poultry livestock projects. The way that we protect our backyard flocks and our commercial flocks in Ohio is by the proper use of biosecurity. What biosecurity means is we're going to prioritize and protect the herd of the flock. That could be a large flock or that could be a flock of one bird. We have two different types of biosecurity. One important type of biosecurity is direct biosecurity. That is where birds transmit disease to other birds. For highly pathogenic avian influenza, the most common route that a disease could enter a backyard flock would be interactions with migratory waterfowl. Birds like geese or ducks, if they want to visit a property, maybe you have water on site like this farm pond, the birds are foraging outside the pond and defecating. That feces can be infective. The potential for them to contract the disease is very great. If your backyard flock becomes infected with highly pathogenic avian influenza, that means the loss of the entire flock. Ohio is an absolute favorite for migratory birds. We have two of the primary migration pathways that crisscross through Ohio. The Atlantic Flyway and the Mississippi Flyway both meet in Ohio and overlap in the northwest corner of the state. And where those birds meet is an opportunity for direct biosecurity and for them to transmit disease from bird to bird. The second type of biosecurity that I want to talk about is indirect biosecurity. And what that is something else transmits disease into your backyard flock. In almost every case, that transmitter is the people. We can be indirect transmission of disease if we are not practicing great biosecurity, as simple as walking through the ground, walking through the feces of a migratory bird, and then interacting with our backyard flock. We need to make sure that we realize our indirect biosecurity transfer potential and take a lot of precautions to make sure that we are keeping our backyard flock safe. Things like wearing personal protective equipment, gloves, disposable booties, having a boot wash station, making sure that you put bird netting over your backyard run or your coop. In fact, in the worst of last year's highly pathogenic avian influenza, when transmission rates were high and we had a lot of detections in Ohio, I was recommending that people keep their birds indoors until the threat of disease passes. We have a huge potential for indirect biosecurity breakthrough coming up because of Ohio's prominence in bird watching and all of the migratory birds that we're going to have visiting through Ohio. The greatest week of American birding is coming up in the first 2 weeks of May, where both of the migratory pathways overlap in the northwest corner of the state, right over Lake Erie. I'm not telling you to avoid bird watching and all the benefits that you can get out of going out into nature. What I'm recommending is realize the potential for you to be that indirect break in biosecurity. Make sure that you take the precautions that you need so that you don't travel into a zone that might have disease present and then bring that back and spread that to your birds at home. If you have concerns about your backyard flock and highly pathogenic avian influenza, contact the USDA. For commercial producers, contact the Ohio Poultry Association. For those links and more information on those organizations, head to go.osu.edu/Extension Today.
Extension Today is sponsored by the Ohio State University College of Food, Agricultural, and Environmental Sciences.